Nobody's ever talked to her, and she's never been interviewed anywhere. And now, understand, I'm not talking about one person. What I just told you applies to 7 people.
You know, Beyonce's really not helping Chloe's project or Chloe's album.
I think Beyonce should post because that's her artist, but Beyonce isn't obligated to post.
In this business, the star is the commodity. These are real people, real lives. When you see things happen and you don't have all of the information. For all of them, it don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, TG Jakes, any of them, all lies will be exposed. That's all.
Somebody's coming after Queen Bey's throne, and he's not resting till she's completely taken down. A renowned comedian with no filter, Katt Williams is stirring up trouble again, and this time Beyoncé herself is in the crosshairs. In his latest interview, Katt's dishing out the dirt on the music industry's golden girl. Forget lemonade, cause this tea's got some serious zing. Katt's hinting at some shady business behind Beyoncé's rise to the top, and let's just say it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Over the years, Williams has gained a rep as a straight shooter, spilling the tea about the shady side of the biz that no one else dares to touch. While Katt used to stick to comedy and acting bigwigs, he's now diving into the music scene, including heavy hitters like Beyoncé. In a chat with Carrie Champion, Katt kept it real about how things really go down in the industry. According to him, what fans think are just random accidents are actually carefully planned schemes.
This is the business. We're in the business where make-believe happens, where the job is to have something that costs 9 cents for us to make, and we sell it for $4.99 to you for a good deal.
And behind these schemings are also celebrities we've been calling mothers for so long. Safe to say, Beyoncé the mother ain't mothering anymore. Queen Bey may have paved her own path in the music world like nobody else, but that isn't to say she hasn't had her fair share of scandals over the years. And the one that's still up for debate involves her and singer Amerie. Every year, the internet stirs up the pot and compares Amerie's song One Thing to Beyoncé's 2003 banger Crazy in Love. It's a battle of the beats, and boy is it spicy. There's a lot of debate on who made the song first, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. You don't need to be a genius to see the similarities between the two tracks. For those not in the know, Amerie's a Korean-American singer who made waves with her unique voice back in the 2000s. Teaming up with producer Rich Harrison, she dropped 4 albums, showcasing her signature go-go style. This genre was a hit. It looked like this singer was going to become the next big inspiring artist of the world. That is, until Beyoncé stepped into the scene. Suddenly, Amerie vanished into thin air. Now the internet detectives out there did some digging and were convinced that Beyoncé swiped Amerie's touch and nudged her out of the music scene. But when it comes to defending their queen, the Beehive doesn't mess around. They pointed out that Beyoncé dropped Crazy in Love in 2003. This was a good 2 years before Amerie's One Thing hit the airwaves. But as they say, the tea's still brewing and it's about to spill. Turns out Beyoncé and Amerie weren't exactly on separate planets after all. They had a common link, producer Rich Harrison. And get this, Harrison wasn't just behind Amerie's tunes, he was her fiancé too. This is where all the drama began. You know what they say, never mix business with pleasure. According to sources, the couple first crossed paths in a McDonald's parking lot, of all places. And after a jam session, Harrison knew he hit the jackpot. In a 2002 interview, Amerie said she just clicked with Harrison in the studio. That something magical happened whenever they worked together. Now, no one's saying what Harrison and Amerie had wasn't real, but when it comes to chasing fame, sometimes love takes a back seat. You see, the rich in Rich Harrison was aiming for stardom in the music biz at the time. The guy had already signed with legends like Mary J. Blige and Toni Braxton and was looking for his next big break. This is where Beyoncé's dad, Matthew N.E.S., a record exec himself, came in. He hooked Beyoncé up with Rich, and they got down to business. Fans reckon Beyoncé teaming up with Rich was a strategic move to edge Amerie out of the picture. They thought Beyoncé was a smart cookie who deliberately hunted down Rich Harrison. Harrison then gave her Crazy in Love using the same vibe he did with Amerie. Same swing style in both sounds too, by the way, and before you know it, the song becomes the big hit for the Dangerously in Love album, hitting #1 and sticking around on the charts for 27 weeks. Then, fast forward to 2005, Amerie drops her second album, Touch. The lead single, One Thing, sounds a lot like Crazy in Love, but Amerie's just trying to reclaim her style. The only problem is, Beyoncé's already flying high. So the Hive's argument about Beyoncé releasing the song first doesn't really wash. Like Katt said, the music game isn't what we think. Sometimes songs aren't born until they hit the airwaves. Producers also stash ideas away for years, waiting for the right artist to come along, and it seems like that's what went down here. Turns out, Rich Harrison himself confessed at some point that he'd been hoarding the Crazy in Love hook for ages. He kept it locked until B came knocking. Now, he didn't flat out say it was earmarked for Amerie, but keeping all the details in mind, you know something very fishy went down here. And Beyoncé clearly has some great controversial part in it. The scandals surrounding Queen Bey don't end here though. This is only the tip of Beyoncé's shady past. When it comes to sharing the SP spotlight, Chloe Bailey knows all about how far Bey is willing to go to secure her position on the charts and in the industry. You see, Hailey and Chloe Bailey caught the eye of the internet singing song covers back in the day, and man, did they have some killer vocals for their age. Guess what? Their first video, uploaded in 2011, was none other than a cover of Beyoncé's Best Thing I Never Had. Given their undeniable talent, it didn't take long for the sisters to end up on the Disney child star path. But the real I've made it moment came for the sisters when Beyoncé personally noticed them in December 2013. When Beyoncé gives you a nod, you know you're onto something big. With an eye for talent, Beyoncé didn't waste a second and signed Chloe and Hailey to her record label, Parkwood Entertainment. Safe to say, when it came to securing a mentor to show them the reins, the girls had won the game. Yet, surprisingly, the sisters' careers never took off like fans had expected. Chloe Bailey released her debut album, In Pieces, on March 31st, 2023. You'd think with Beyoncé's Midas touch, the charts would be trembling. But sometimes, even with Queen Bey in your corner, success takes a little longer to hit the high notes. Sadly, In Pieces only sold a disappointing 10,000 units during its first week. Of course, fans had a whole lot of questions about why the album of Bey's protege didn't do well. On the surface, Bailey had the perfect recipe for success. So why did she fall short? Well, it was because Beyoncé was doing all the cooking, and she wasn't cooking for success. If you ask DJ Envy, he'll tell you that Beyoncé is definitely the one to blame here. Look, before you throw him to the wolves, you might want to hear him out. DJ Envy said it was Beyoncé's job to promote Bailey's album on her social media accounts. Hey, she's a global icon with 319 million followers on Instagram, so her word carries golden weight. But instead, it was crickets on Bey's social media accounts when it came to Bailey's album. Even some fans found it odd.
They're saying that she could have did more, she wasn't even on a song on the album, and they're saying that she didn't even announce that, she's taking her out on tour. So it was like, Beyonce's really not helping Chloe's project or Chloe's album.
Many people thought Beyoncé intentionally decided to take a back seat on this one. Allegedly, Beyoncé didn't want Chloe to outshine her, which is why she didn't promote her album. What's more, some theorists think that the only reason Bey brought Chloe under her wing in the first place was to keep her on a tight leash. Now, Chloe went out of her way to turn down the rumors online. She said Beyoncé had always supported her in every possible way, gave her opportunities, yada yada yada. But people didn't believe it. It just seemed like there was another PR stunt unfolding behind closed doors, and fans weren't having it. The thing is, if you think maybe Beyoncé was just caught in the crossfire only because Chloe didn't end up doing that well in the industry, you might actually be wrong. Because judging from the way another singer, Azealia Banks, put it, Bey's got some dirt on her hands for sure. She's accused Beyoncé of begging people like the Dixie Chicks, Shakira, and Adele for collabs, but at the same time, not caring enough to pay the black women who write her songs. Yeah, so Beyoncé is apparently not just allegedly holding other singers and songwriters back, but she's also not paying the people around her enough. Don't know about you guys, but it seems like one nasty, evil queen was born when she first started climbing the charts in the music industry, and she hasn't left her pedestal even today. So, what are your thoughts on Beyoncé getting exposed once again? Let us know in the comments below.